Welcome. We are live in Facebook land. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this Profit First and Pure Bookkeeping Facebook Live session. I am Katrina Aarsman, CEO of Pure Bookkeeping, and today I'm hosting this with Laura from Profit First. Hi, Laura. How are you?
Good, thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, awesome. And Sharon Jones from Additional Business Concepts. Hi, Sharon. How are you?
Hello.
And of course, Najma from Trobe Bookkeeping. Welcome and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
So today we're going to just explore the journeys of our bookkeepers, pure bookkeeping licensees and Profit First professionals in their journey of their business and how they got started. And today we're going to explore a little bit about the overwhelm that our bookkeepers were experiencing before they got started, and in together with the systems, and then how that developed into moving into advisory. So, but firstly, let's learn a little bit more about those that are on the call today. So, Sharon, do you want to give us a little bit of information about how you got involved in business and in pure bookkeeping? And then, into Profit First. So you're feeling a bit of overwhelm at the start?
Right. So I actually started my bookkeeping business because I wanted to be at home for my children. Don't we all? And can I just say on that work-life balance, I've come in from going to see my son perform at school just this morning. And so it works. It really does. It's a good reason to be in business. But I just got this passion for bookkeeping. I loved it. And then as I picked up clients, I went to do my Cert 4. And as I'm doing my Cert 4, my teacher kept on saying, you'll need to build checklists. You'll need really good checklists. So by 2011, I had started working with taking on clients. And I had a terrible client that I really couldn't manage at all. And fortunately, Debbie and Peter brought Pure Bookkeeping to Tasmania, and I just grabbed it. I just went, why would you sit at your desk and work out systems when it's already done? So my poor husband, of course, I went home and told him I was taking out money from the redraw, but it's okay. So I then sacked that client, went on holidays and came back and had I took on a client that I really couldn't have done without pure bookkeeping. I couldn't have done it without pure bookkeeping. And that then sent me into the advisory space because they just grew really rapidly. It was exciting to watch. It was exciting to be in. You learnt on the hop. You became like a different bookkeeper because you had to. But I didn't have the skills for advisory. And I remember asking the accountant, can you help them? And they said yes, but they didn't. So by this time, I'm doing budgets. I'm trying to help them with their cash flow. And I really didn't have what I needed to give them. After that, I moved to Western Australia. I continued with that client. Then I took on other clients that needed really good help with their cash flow. Still, I didn't have what I needed to give them. I was giving them great reports, spreadsheets, balance sheets, profit and loss, up-to-date bookkeeping, amazing bookkeeping. Thank you to Profit First. I'm growing a team now by this stage because of pure bookkeeping. But I couldn't help them. They couldn't understand. They just kept on glazing over. So it wasn't until I actually took on Profit First that I found the Holy Grail for advisory. I found I had the ability to actually do what was in my heart to do, and that was actually see businesses not just get good bookkeeping, but actually really grow.
Najma, would you like to just introduce yourself or tell us a bit about yourself and where you are and what you do?
Okay, I'm actually based in lucky Perth because unfortunately for the rest of you, we are not in lockdown. Nice. But my heart goes out to all of you that are in lockdown. I fully understand where you're coming from. So yes, I started my business in 2014 in Melbourne, surprisingly. But before I started, I didn't want to go through what my parents had gone through. So I was looking for something more than just starting a business. So I looked for systems and I came across Profit First, the book Mike Michalowicz had just launched the book, and I started reading that book, and I said, wow, this is a great tool to actually implement in my business. And I then also reached out to Debbie, because when I wanted to start my business, I wanted to start it correctly. So I got two things. I got Profit First, and I got Pure Bookkeeping set up in my business from day one. And I haven't looked back since. 7 years now, and I haven't looked back since. In 2015, I came to Perth, and yes, I've just enjoying the journey. So really, there was no overwhelm for me as such, but just implementing these two systems, a tool and a system together in my business, has just made it was a complete game changer for me in my business.
Yeah. So specifically, what type of systems did you have in place for you to be able to move over and do that, concentrate on the advisory? What was it in your bookkeeping side that you had to systemize?
Okay, because I already implemented from day one, I implemented Pure Bookkeeping, right? So my system was already there, and I was actually, I kind of just started, and I think I may have just started the correct way. I didn't want to go through the process that Debbie went through. So you always learn from other people's experiences. And I just follow through. So I just implemented the system, Pure Bookkeeping system in my business. And along with that, I'd read Profit First, and I implemented that in my business. So from day one, I'd already had all these accounts set up in my business. So it was really, I didn't have to actually do any assessments, because I was taking the percentages, the target percentages from day one. And I used Profit First in my business for at least 6 months on my own, just my own business. And it really, it made a difference in my business. It was just, everything was just flowing through. And that's when I reached out to the US, in Profit First America, the US, and I asked them if there was some sort of certification process, and of course, lo and behold, they had a certification process, and I didn't hesitate. I signed up, because I'm a great believer in, when I make a decision, it's very intuitive, and I make it on the spot. So I just signed up on the day that I spoke to them in the US, and yeah, nothing's changed since.
Absolutely. I'd love to jump in about my experience with Pure Bookkeeping, because a lot of people don't realize that when I first started my business many, many moons ago, I had started by myself in bookkeeping, and my team grew pretty quickly. And I was spending all of this time putting these, like, reinventing the wheel, let's just call it what it is, reinventing the wheel with all these like templates and systems and that sort of thing. And I'm just like, there has to be an easier way. And, because I went from me to one other staff member, and then all of a sudden there was 5 of us. And I'm just like, there has to be an easier way. And that's when I met with Debbie and Peter at one of their boardrooms forever ago, where it was stepping you through, like, what is pure bookkeeping and that sort of stuff. And it's not just the bookkeeping systems, it is HR, it is how to speak to people outside of your network, it is, the tools to be able to really move from the doing, or to allow for other people to do the doing, and so that I could then concentrate on, sorry, the noise, I'm just like, and then concentrate on what it is that I wanted to do. And I realized pretty quickly that the bookkeeping was very much a part of my business, but I didn't want to spend my time there. I wanted to have an awesome team, and I wanted them to be pretty autonomous, but the same quality standard and that sort of stuff, so that I didn't have to spend all of my hours reviewing everything, and the reviews were easy, and that we're all on the same page, and that sort of thing. And the biggest thing for me is that when I got access to Pure Bookkeeping, I was like, whoa, there is such a suite of things here. And, being able to pick and choose and implement the bits that are priority first. You don't have to like if you can, and you can be a Najma, where it's like, let's do it all from the very beginning with, from start to finish, then perfect. But the majority of us are not as smart when it comes to that sort of thing. And we are retrospectively trying to fit this into our business. And I loved that I could pick out pieces and implement it so that it was not too overwhelming. And then once that was in place, the step into advisory for me was actually quite easy in comparison to what it was. So I just wanted to kind of chuck that in there as well, because I'm many years down the track from that now, and yeah, doing very different things with my business.
Yeah, and it's a similar story to myself. I became a licensee in 2011, and for the same reasons that I couldn't work out my systems. I was procrastinating on how to make decisions on, what to do. I had so many checklists and doing different things for different clients, and I had a couple of staff. So implementing systems and getting the staff on board with those systems and having a method of testing, skills testing your staff so that the bookkeeping side of the business can run itself. I mean, that's where we want to get to, so that we are not so tied down to the doing of every day, that we can actually start developing that. And that doesn't happen overnight or within months. It's an evolution. I used to refer to it as, an evolution. You just keep building on your business and improving your systems and upskilling yourself as well. So I always knew that I wanted to move into advisory and consulting. So it was really important that the business side of it could tick over nicely. And I don't know of Profit First. I've only became aware of it in the last, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years. Wasn't way back when I was in, bookkeeping in 2011. I didn't know it was. I would have loved it. I'm always trying to find that mentor in advisory space, be able to keep going with it. And I kept developing my own skills in advisory, and we actually work on Profit First now in pure bookkeeping. So we do the Profit First philosophy. And of course, when I mentor bookkeepers, our licensees, and they are ready to take that next step, that they've got their business sorted, they've got the right clients, they've got their staffing and their resources, then the next step is to move into advisory and develop those skills with the support of, Profit First. So, and then that's where Sharon has been introduced to Profit First, as have, other of our licensees, and loving it, just that extra level of business ability and just seeing that potential, which is awesome.
Absolutely. Can I jump in and just say,
yeah.
With having a system, like you said, a foundation, a great system, the pure bookkeeping is the foundation. It's just having everything in place. But when you add Profit First on top of it, everything changes. My first client that I had a $280,000 GST debt. And within 6 months, we were able to actually wipe that out. They were a couple that were in their 70s, and they were trying to retire and they couldn't do it. I mean, just having the Profit First added to this, showing them exactly what to do. And I mean, like Sharon said, we're just not bookkeepers. We're much more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to know how the role in your business has changed over time, becoming a CEO, advisor. What is that definition for you? And tell us a little bit more about that evolution for you.
Me? It's taking your hands off the bookkeeping. You can't go forward with your business while you're working on the tools. And we see this with our clients. And so you have to have the system in place that's going to lay the foundations, and you have to have your staff trained, ready, so that you can move into that, where your heart is really. And that is providing that real business in the trenches support for your clients to see them grow. So you really have to start thinking very differently about your business. You don't answer every call that comes into from your clients. I've actually gone even the step of taking off my phone number off my website. And really thinking about who I want. So probably the biggest thing I've done as going into CEO role rather than bookkeeping role for my business is to take a day out to work on me. Pulling my head out of the business and actually going, where's this going? What's this doing? And really doing a planning and doing the growth day. That's what I did. And that helps you then get your headspace out of the constant bookkeeping, because you just get pulled in, you get sucked in to, you've got to get that invoice out, you've got to do that bank rec, you've got to, and you can do that all day. And that's the hamster wheel you've got to get off.
Najma, if I can ask you, what's the most rewarding thing for you now that you have got your systems in place and you're moving into the advisory? What do you find is the most rewarding thing?
Well, for me, I didn't mention that I actually homeschool my kids. So I've been homeschooling my kids from like day one. We all do. And yes, I chose to homeschool my kids. And when I started my business, and this is the reason why I was looking for something. When I started my business, I wanted to actually run my business. My business had to revolve around my lifestyle, not the other way around. And when just implementing these two systems in my business actually allowed me to do that. So my business revolves around my lifestyle. So if I want to do something, I'm happy to do it. If on a Thursday, I usually take my kids, to various excursions, and I'm allowed to do that. So, just shut up shop and off I go. I don't really have to concern myself, I've got this client to worry about, or because I've got all these systems in place. And Profit First, I've got my homeschooling account. So I've got the money set aside for all these, expensive excursions that I have, with my kids. So it's given me the opportunity to raise my kids the way I want them to raise, and well, I don't know if I should share this, but Laura knows that my son is now 15 years old and he's at university. So it's given me the opportunity to do all of those things. And I mean, it's what we're looking for. We all talk about, we want freedom. That is freedom.
That's what I was sensing all through that conversation, is the sense of freedom that you have now. You are in control.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have taken that option of removing the overwhelm so that you can become in control of your own business and your own life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Sharon, do you have something that you'd like to contribute around what's the most rewarding thing for you being in business now and having it systemized and moving into advisory?
I think it's just this last couple of weeks that being able to go with my husband's brother who came over from Tasmania and watch the whales for a day and the wheels don't fall off, and having the freedom to do that. But at the same time, I'm excited about the future, and I don't know how you could do business now without Profit First. Like, I really don't, because it has changed not just my business, but also my personal life, because I've put it into my personal accounts. So like Najma said, I can afford to do things I didn't know I could afford before, because I had one big bucket of money in our personal expenses as well. And it just changes how you look at money, which I think once you have freedom financially, you start to have that freedom in making decisions in your business that you can make, and you can make those decisions in your life as well. And can I just say, my husband loves it. Loves it. I show him the business accounts and he can see now what the business is doing. He looks at the personal accounts and he knows what he's not allowed to spend. So it's so, I have to say, and Katrina, you're probably going to be surprised, because in our last conversation, I don't think I sounded like I enjoyed my business, but I enjoy my business, I enjoy my life, and I'm excited for the future.
Wow.
I'm just going to jump in there, Sharon, and it's just the clarity. It's just getting clear on everything. I mean, clarity with money is it really gives everybody freedom, because we're also concerned about, when we live our lives, we're always thinking about, oh, you know, can I afford this, or I can't do this because I don't have money for it. But when we have those buckets, those accounts, it's so clear. It's so clear. It just tells you, you know, you just have to look at your phone and say, yes, oh yes, I can buy that expensive Louis Vuitton.
If that's what you're into. But I would say, like, my own experience around that is there's no way I would have had the time or the opportunity for the clarity if I had not had things systemized. Like, I would still be stuck in the day-to-day, and, you know, and I tell you what, it's a real pull. I still, because I obviously still have that business, and, you know, the team come to me with things, and it's easy to go, oh, I'll just jump in and help. And you don't need to, actually, but, you know, it is a habit that you have to form, where you choose not to be pulled back in, where you leverage what you have in place and ensure that, you know, they're as good as they can be, and you've got really solid foundations so that you can take the time and space to learn, to get that clarity, and to ultimately understand what it is that you want. Because what you think you want when you're moving into advisory to where you actually are by the time you are advising people can be very different, and it evolves just like we are as human beings. So yeah, I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah. The other thing with you know, we stress too much on advisory. To me personally, there's no such thing as advisory. We are advising. We're advising our husbands and our children every day. So for me, it's conversations I have with my clients. It's just having this profit first. You know I have the backing of a team. Like, we have Laura and we have all the other profit first professionals. For me, there's that backing. And I know when I'm having conversation with my client, I'm able to not advise them, but when I'm lead them in the direction they need to be led. So for me, it's not advisory at all. It's not, you know, we think, oh, compliance advisory. For me, it's not that. It's just as simple as having a conversation with my client.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you have a formula you'd like to share with everyone, Najma?
Well, that's a little tip for anybody that actually wants to set a business up properly. My formula is profit, because it's worked for me. Profit equals passion plus pure bookkeeping plus profit first. Because if you want profit, those are the three things you need: passion, pure bookkeeping, and profit first. That's all. That's all I'd like to say, because we all are formula based. You know, we bookkeepers and accountants, we love formulas. So use that formula, and I think you'll be successful in your business.
Absolutely. And can I just say, I wouldn't be where I am today without pure bookkeeping. And if you're stuck, I can highly recommend Katrina as your mentor. And I cannot even imagine now not having Profit First and the team. Like, you can't describe those. We're going to go on to a webinar shortly where we're together as a team and we get to bring to the table what we're struggling with. So it's just both between the pure bookkeeping and Profit First, the community we have. So never ever be alone, and don't be afraid to step into that space where you might need to pay some money for something. But when you do, you make that decision to really do it, to really go forward. So thank you, Katrina and Laura, and Najma, who also helps me every week.
Thank you. That's very sweet to say, and it's I love the how you feel about that, and how and the outcome. You know, once you put in the hard work, and you've met the right people that are going to help you. You've got those right the right ingredients.
Yes.
For what you're wanting to achieve. So I love that, and especially community. I think community is so important. especially in our industry, we can feel isolated, and it's nice to have people that support us and have got our back, and we can always get information and that guidance from the community. And I love our community.
I couldn't agree more. And really, it's easy to feel isolated, especially when things feel really hard and you just are unsure what the next best step is. And so reaching out to that community and not even knowing what question it is that you need to ask, but just to be able to go, this is how I feel. And, you know, there's people there that have been there and can just share their own experiences, and it really just helps you move and take that next step and feel like you're not so alone. And I think it's hard to find a great community, and I think both Pure Bookkeeping and Profit First have really got amazing communities. So yeah.
Gratitude to Laura and Katrina, actually, because, you know, for me personally, I feel Pure Bookkeeping and Profit First have been my guardian angels guiding me, and that actually brings joy for me to actually run my business, because that's what we want. We want to be happy. We want to be, you know, every morning when we get out of bed, we want to be happy going to, you know, it mustn't be a dreaded feeling. It has to be a joyful feeling when we get out of bed and say, I want to go and do my work for my clients today. So it's without these two things, I don't think I would be able to be sitting here today and talking to you. So thank you very much. I'm grateful.
Yeah, and how lucky are we, Laura, to be able to work with very special people that are passionate, as Najma said. It's good to have the passion for your business, and we're passionate. I know, you know, you and I, Laura, we're passionate about our industry and helping others, and it's a lifestyle choice. And it's lucky that we get to work in this industry and in this position to be able to help others and make a difference. Like that's, you know, one of my missions is to make a difference to people's lives. So it's awesome to be able to do that. And thank you, Najma, for you know, focusing on that.
Yeah, like phenomenal people. We all are phenomenal people. Every single person in the industry is phenomenal, and it's just a matter of them seeing that and being given the support and have the community to be able to step out and see yourself as the phenomenal person that you are. So yes, I feel very lucky to be working with the people that I do. And I love the fact that we can have this conversation. So thank you all very much for being here and sharing what's been rewarding for you, what's been challenging, and for giving your time to give a bit of an insight into what is Pure Bookkeeping for you and what is Profit First and what is your journey in your business. It's fantastic. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So my next question, if I can ask, because I've got all of the questions, is what have you got planned? What have you got planned now that you've got your systems in place? Pure Bookkeeping's part of what it is that you do, and Profit First is something that you've committed to and you're seeing changes and that sort of stuff. What have you got planned? I'd love to understand that, because we talk about all of the outcomes of being an advisor and that sort of thing, but give us more information.
Personally, for me, I moved from Melbourne. I've come to Perth. Lots of things have changed for me personally. I was able to buy a car. I was able to buy my house. There were so many things. Usually, with the beauty about a Profit First is we always reverse engineer whatever we do. So I'm in the beginning of each financial year, I actually set my income that I really want to earn. And I don't know if everybody's aware that Profit First has different levels. So I actually in May joined Mastery, Profit First Mastery level. And of course, that's a whole different thing altogether. And when I sat down with Laura to do my personal goals with her, we sat down and we determined what I was going to earn. And I think 2 weeks ago, we had a call, and what I had to already achieve in 1 month, I've kind of doubled that already. So for me personally, you know, I've I'm really achieving. I'm really ticking the goals that I'm actually wanting to achieve in my life so far. So it's all good. I wish I could go back to South Africa, because that's where I'm from. Of course, my parents are no longer with me anymore. So, but I would like to go, and I was unable to attend my dad's funeral. So for me to have closure, I'd love to go back to South Africa and spend a couple of months in South Africa. And of course, while in South Africa, work in my business, because I have systems in place and I have profit first. That's
fantastic. I think we might wrap it up there, if that's okay. Are you good with that, Laura?
I think so. The internet issues are a bit hard, but I guess what I would love is if anyone watching has any questions, we'll be able to come back, and Najma and Sharon, myself and Katrina can answer any questions that are in there. We may even pre-record something else separately so that it can come up, because it's very hard to start and stop. So thank you for those that have continued to join us during this time, and I very much look forward to Najma and Sharon being able to share a bit more about their journeys with Pure Bookkeeping and Profit First. And Katrina, thank you so much for heading this today. And yeah, I'm going to wrap this up now and say thank you very, very much to everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks all. See ya.